Welcome to the College Football Bros. I'm Michael Newman.
I'm Ryan Newman.
And I'm Trey Newman.
So game day is headed to Knoxville for Florida at Tennessee. In this episode, we're going to break down that game, give our against the spread picks. But my first question for you guys is, who is this game bigger for? Or maybe you think it's equal, but is there a side that you think this game has more importance?
I'll go with Tennessee. It's when you're in your second year as opposed to your first year for down at Florida. So Josh Heupel going to his second year. There's some expectations going on now a little bit. He's kind of proven to have a pretty good team. Things are looking up, and if they keep winning, Hendon Hooker actually has a legit shot of maybe getting into the Heisman conversation, being a Heisman finalist. So if they kind of can propel themselves after this one, then there's some serious discussion as them being, playoff threat and serious, national, worthy commentary here. Whereas Florida, Billy Napier, even if they lose this, I don't know, he can still have success at Florida. He can still have success this year. I just don't think it's as dependent because Tennessee can really, really propel them to kind of bigger pastures, I think.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking along the same lines, and they just have the loftier expectations right now, and especially with the hoopla that's around this game. Game day's there. It's the national CBS game. Tennessee's back in the limelight, and they can kind of prove that Heupel is the coach for them and validate that they're trending toward kind of being back in the mix in the SEC. And it's also important just when you look at this game, Tennessee still has Alabama and Georgia on their schedule, so they can't really afford a home loss at this point if with those two beasts still upcoming. But if I'm a Florida fan, I want to see the offense take a step up. Anthony Richardson, you want to see him, prove that he can make some plays with his arm. Otherwise, it could lead to a tough season for the Gators.
Yeah. We're all in agreement. Bigger for Tennessee just because, Florida fans, I think at this point after these last two games, the way they've gone, kind of understand they could be headed for 6 or 7 win season, which isn't what they're hoping for or had hoped for, but more understandable in Billy Napier's first year, given what he inherited. So, and the other thing for Tennessee is they've lost to Florida. Florida owns them, right? They've lost 16 of the past 17 years, something like that. So this would just be a real gut punch for when the time where they're a big favorite to go down. So, all right. Well, what's your pick? I mentioned Tennessee being a big favorite. They're favored 10.5 at this point. What are you thinking, Trey?
It is a lot, but I am going to take the Vols. I think they're going to make Anthony Richardson beat them with his arm, which he clearly really hasn't shown he can do this year. 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and some of those were really costly interceptions. They lack kind of a true perimeter threat that he's comfortable with so far. I will admit their run game pretty strong. Richardson, of course, then Montrell Johnson, Trevor Etienne. And with the Vols D, it's not spectacular, but their run D held up pretty well a couple weeks ago against Pitt. So I think they can offset the Gators' strength there. And then the Vols offense, it's more balanced. Hooker has the big advantage at quarterback. He has the ability to pick up key third downs with both his arms and his legs. So I think Rocky Top's going to be electric. I think they cover.
I'm with you. It's hard for me to pick Florida after seeing Anthony Richardson the last 2 weeks. Doesn't appear to be fully healthy either, so that doesn't help. And like I said, I think Tennessee's defense, it's not great, but it's a bit better than last year. So I just don't see Anthony Richardson keeping up with Hendon Hooker. Now, if Cedric Tillman is out, of course, the leading receiver, the star receiver for Tennessee, that would hurt. We still don't know as we record whether he'll be playing. But Florida might be missing Ventrell Miller at linebacker, who was gone last game, and it showed. They were horrible against USF. They could not defend the run. I think his absence was a big part of that. So those two potential absences are kind of a wash in my mind. And yeah, Tennessee minus 10.5. You could have had 10 earlier in the week. So if you're going to bet Tennessee, that obviously would have been a better time. And the back door is open with that half point, but still taking the Vols.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take that backdoor cover, hopefully. I'm going to take the Gators here. Listen. I know the last 2 weeks haven't been all that great, but I'm gonna just assume that they've been sleepwalking a little bit. The first game against Utah, they were really pumped for. It was a good win, beating a good Utah team. And then Kentucky. I think Kentucky's got a really good, decent defense. They've consistently had that. So really, to me, the one true head scratcher was the South Florida game, which I'll kind of just. Hopefully they ended up pulling it out, which is good for them. But in Tennessee, I'm a little reluctant to just say that, the defense improved. They've had some rough times with that defense, and I know they showed somewhat well against Pitt, but Pitt's running backs actually did pretty well. So I think Florida's going to have a renewed effort on the ground. They're really going to try to shorten the game. I think they know that if Anthony Richardson attempts anywhere near 30 passes, they're not going to win this game. So look for the Gators to have some success on the ground. Maybe shorten the game up a little bit, keep Hendon Hooker off the field, somehow escape within 10 points.
Okay. All right. Well, that'll do it for this episode of the College Football Bros. Let us know in the comments below who you're taking against the spread. Maybe you're picking an outright upset. Let us know your thoughts and why, and we will see you next time.
You've been watching the College Football Bros. Be sure to subscribe here on YouTube and in your podcast app for college football content all year round. For bonus episodes and access to our Discord chat, join our Patreon at patreon.com/collegefootballbros. Thanks for watching.